All right. Where the fuck is the poem gone? Plague. And all it took was a plague to show us the money was bad magic, origami wealth counted by creatures you wouldn't trust to pet your dog. A plague to kill the spectacle, turn the world midnight, Sunday, Dargaville, walk in an empty supermarket, asking yourself why you wasted a life trying to impress your phone. A plague polishing the skies and ocean spotless, spitting phlegm from the collective smoker's lung, captains of sinking industry sleeping in South Island sleep sheep stations. But tell me again that we are helpless and I'll throw my mask in the air, laughing like God when he's pissed. A plague to show us we're smarter than our boss, that they need us more than we need them, that low-skilled worker is a slur, that our labour's worth more than we ever imagined, and anyone can end up at MSD pleading their case to some professional arsehole. 10 reasons I don't deserve to be homeless in interpretive dance. A plague to teach us we're nothing without each other, money, property, status, distractions from the gossip of our dreams. And tonight, all the world alone, staring out the windows in our palms. And it's true, the past is a library of grief, but the future isn't copyrighted. So let us isolate ourselves from their broken heart normal. And I don't need to touch you to know you're here with me, watching history happen.
From the galaxy brains that coronated a prime minister and set a UFC champion on his path comes a second iteration of How Not to Be an Asshole. New and improved and more determined than ever to veer off into MMA minutiae. People, two of them, asked, so we return. Welcome back to How Not to Be an Asshole.
Dan, can you put some dramatic music under that?
Could do.
In post.
Under your poetry or under the...
No, my poetry's got to be, clean. No, under your little spiel you just did. Todd spent hours writing that.
Yeah, I spent a good couple days, which is fortunate because that's all I got now.
Yeah.
Is days. Don't know what each day is called, but...
Welcome back.
Hey, it feels good, right?
Back in a little bit older, a little bit uglier.
Yeah. I'm wrinkled.
Way richer.
Yeah.
This is the richest I've ever been.
Me too.
I told that to my accountant and she laughed at me. Said you made $34,000 last year.
Hey, look. It's nothing to sniff at.
It's all what's the word? It's a sliding scale.
Yeah. So this came about pretty quickly, just due to recent events. I think we found we all had extra time on our hands. And I think 2 people on the internet in like the span of about 3 days said, hey, and this was before Corona. They were like, hey, you guys should do your podcast again. We're like, nah. And then Corona hit. And then I messaged Dom. I was like, we shouldn't do Corona. We should do the podcast again. Not many people know, but I don't know if we divulged it really, but there was we fell out in dramatic fashion. Dan was spreading some salacious information. Dom and I fell over it. And we
found out that the reason why he's been so enigmatic was he'd been committing arson, burning schools down across the country. And we just were like, we can't have that shit.
So
we've got to draw a line somewhere.
This is the first time we've spoken in about 4 years, and we couldn't get another producer, so Dan's back as well.
Say hello, Dan.
Anything on fire for months.
Well, that's all I need to hear.
What were we? So we're catching up, Dom. What have you been doing for the last 4 years?
Has it been 4 years?
I don't know. I'm just saying that.
I reckon it's more like 3. What do you think, Dan?
Who knows? I think it's like 2016. End of 2016.
Yes, it is 4 years. What have I been doing? I've written some books. Had I written a book? I think I hadn't done my novel yet.
No, you're too busy with the podcast.
Yeah. Well, once the podcast ended, I could really get into my hobbies, so I wrote a book. And I've written 3 books. 2 that are out. I've got another one in the go. I've been doing poetry a lot and teaching children.
What do you
working
teach them?
various jobs. Just trying to steer them off the path, the arson path, like keep the fires in the fireplace kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just using Dan as a cautionary tale, how things can go wrong.
Imagine, in the post-COVID world, I think there's going to be a lot of arson.
Once Dan gets out on the streets again.
Yeah. I was thinking today about, so in regards to me, I've moved back to Australia like a fucking sellout. If anyone listened to the previous podcast, I think probably each episode I took the opportunity to shit on Australia. and now I find myself back here, still working with young people. We got our own business of youth services, which is cool. But I was reflecting today, and I was like, now that I'm 40, and I might meet Australians, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're a rapper." I'm like, "No, I don't really dignify that with an answer, because it's an undignified answer to say yes." But what I do tell them is, I podcasted the Prime Minister of New Zealand, because Australians love Jacinda Ardern, because she's obviously a lot more preferable to what they got over here. So that it really paid off.
Yeah, it did. I mean, Jacinda Ardern, Israel,
Yeah,
Sam Takani,
yeah.
all on the same day, actually.
Muhammad, I've been following his work in the last few years. He does some amazing stuff. Do you tell people?
Look at this, Dan.
What is that?
It's a pig, brass pig.
This is an audio podcast, Dom.
That's all right. Just showing Dan,
Okay.
keeping him engaged.
I guess that's important. Do you tell people, Dan, that you had the Prime Minister in your house, like every opportunity you get?
I don't need to because my mum tells everyone.
Oh, cool. Fuck, see, that's even better. I need to find someone who'll do that on my behalf, because I just look like a fucking blow-ass.
Why don't you just the picture came up in my Facebook memories, so it must have been a year ago today that we did that podcast,
Yeah.
or that we put the podcast out at least.
A year ago today, you reckon?
I think so.
No.
Well, 4 years ago. So I'm worried that my thing's too quiet. Well, that won't matter though, Dan. You can compress it.
Yeah. About to do
Quiet's good, better than loud.
so. Quiet is better than loud.
Yeah, you don't want to be popping.
Right. I'm drinking a hallertau as well to get back in the old mood, the old frame of mind.
I was also reflecting today, and I was like, we won't shout out Hallertau, but I remember they sent you some beers recently, and way after the podcast, just out of the blue, occasionally they'd hit me up and they'd be like, "Do you want to try some of our new beers?"
Yeah,
So,
very generous.
Yeah, it's so nice. Like, I guess we kind of came to them with a podcast and we're like, "Hey, you want to work together and we'll do what we can for your brand," which probably turned out to be fuck all. And they were still really nice to us.
Not as much as we did for Contact Energy. Or
Yeah, we really
whoever it
helped
was.
them out.
What's this Contact Energy shit?
You don't remember
No
that?
one couldn't remember the name of the radio station. We just went with Contact Energy in the end.
I kept emailing, being like, "Nah, bro, it's fucking." I can't actually remember what it was. What is it? Was it Control? I think it's Control FM.
We can divulge all this now because we're not currently in search of a sponsor. So,
Yeah.
in saying that though,
This is what Todd's been itching to get into.
yeah,
He's a fucking grifter wants to fleece you for your money.
Well, but the thing is, fucking nothing has any value anymore, so they might as well just send us stuff. We'll figure out what to do with it.
It's true.
So, having caught up and getting into that side of things, just letting people know the format we're using now. So we're sending the podcast up on Patreon. There is a method where people can donate to the podcast, but we're going to keep all the content free. Obviously, we understand that a lot of people are having a hard time at the moment, and we don't want to ask you for your money. But if you do want to support, that's cool. But the format's great because it has a good player on the Patreon site. It's not one of those ones that cuts off if you exit the app. So it's just much simpler and easier. And we'll see how things go. We might figure out some bonus content.
Yeah. We'll see how. I mean, this might sound like shit. We never know.
Yeah.
Dan might fucking lose his mind and set his own house on fire.
I should give the Patreon address. It's patreon.com HNTBAA. And you can also contact us through the Patreon. So if you have, feedback, questions you'd like us to address on the podcast, or you just want to interact with us in some way, fuck knows why, you can do it through there, and that's probably the best way to contact us, yeah?
Sure.
Says Tom. Yeah, don't worry, I'll check the messages.
Are we going to try and have guests?
Well, yeah, perhaps. Everyone's on Zoom now, so...
What do you think, Dan?
Yeah.
Find some guests. The cat's scratching at the door. Stop it.
You got a
Fucking.
cat.
Yeah, my sister's got 2.
People are probably wondering, and I definitely am, Dan, is your evil fucking cat still alive?
Sure is.
Damn.
Hasn't left the house in about 4.5 years.
Yeah, so...
Really?
No, it's pretty sick. It's actually got cancer, you'll be pleased to know.
Oh, no.
I don't know about pleased, but... well, cracking right into it, I think there's one looming topic to address really today, isn't it? And fuck, it feels like it's going to loom for a while, but I hope we can veer off into other things. But obviously today we wanted to talk about the situation with the global pandemic. It's the first one we've really experienced, and probably you at home as well. And I think we both had some thoughts about it. Just, Dom, you're a immune deficient guy.
Prefer the term cripple.
Cripple, okay.
Yeah, so I'm one of the high risk people, luckily, and just a bit stressful. I got a cold the other day, and I was like, oh well, I guess this is it. But yeah, I don't know. It's sort of, I find the thing that's really hard with it, I'm sure a lot of people experience it, is it's hard to know how seriously to take it. Like,
Yeah.
obviously it's serious, but, you know, like, because I was reading some people are, like, washing the paws of their dog when they get back from a walk and taking off all their clothes and washing them and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, maybe I should be doing that. And then you find out there's another level beyond that people are doing, and you sort of, you know, at what point is it sort of hypochondria or... But I suppose if you fucking got it, though, you know? Because I read this one dude got it. He was self-isolating and doing all the right shit, and he still managed to get it.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like it probably is, you know. It's like anything in life, right? Where there's a risk and there's all this stuff you can do to mitigate those risks, but it won't necessarily insulate you, right?
no.
Like, but you got, especially with this, because it's a bit bigger than what we're usually talking about. It's you obliged to do as much as you can.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the good thing about the country going to lockdown is that it takes a lot of responsibility away from you. Because I was self-isolating. I've been self-isolating for longer. I've been 15 days.
Yeah.
Because of my disease and stuff. And when everyone else was still going out, though, I was like, fuck, it's just stressful. And then you're like thinking, oh, is this even worth doing? Because you're just going to get cross-contaminated from someone else. And,
Yeah.
you know, but now everyone's in the same fucking boat.
We should actually iterate the date, because this won't come out today. It's Tuesday the 31st of March. So,
Well, maybe if Dan gets his shit together, it will come out today.
oh, have we got? do we have some artwork?
Nah.
So yeah, I guess like talking to people back home and you guys, there's a bit of a difference between how things have happened or rolled out in Australia and New Zealand. Like, it was very unclear in Australia.
Well, you're still going to the fish and chip shop, so it seems a bit unclear.
I was at the fish and chip shop.
So there's
last week.
no level of lockdown or anything there yet, right?
I think we went into level 3 yesterday, but it's real confusing because when they first kind of like made some big announcements and they left a lot of stuff open, and so my supermarket's in the mall, so I go to the mall, go to the supermarket, and there were like jewelry stores open, and
Everyone needs jewelry.
and Foot Locker, and I was very surprised. But I guess, you know, and looking at those businesses, I think, you know, obviously they'll just lay off all their casual employees straight away, but they've got staff they still have to pay, so they probably figure, oh well, fuck, we're paying them, keep them in the store. And it was just such a weird thing to see and feel like
It's all just fucking money, though, right? It's the only reason why you would, you know, trying to keep the economy going. It's just fucking crazy. It's just, I can't, like, because surely they must know what's going to happen. I guess they're just like, fuck it, a bunch of people are going to die, but, you know, as long as we keep the bloody stock market ticking over.
Yeah, and I guess that's a thing I'm sure you have been thinking about a lot, and I have myself, is because I got myself really invested in the US election this year and Bernie Sanders, and then it all kind of like caved in when the establishment and all the power brokers kind of conspired against him and just like collapsed his campaign to run a guy that's like just actually watching fucking Weekend at Bernie's again. And so it was real depressing and disappointing, and despite I think you and other friends telling me like don't get your hopes up, they'll fuck him over, and sure enough they did, although that could be subject to change because of this. But it makes me wonder is like how, like looking into the future, I wanted to talk about this later but it's pressing now, like are people gonna see through all that shit being capitalism because of this? Because you kind of get a feeling that people are understanding some basic concepts about labor, like who's important, what is important, what is valuable. There seems to be a big shift, but will that sustain, or will everything kind of be like, masked over and just back to business as usual afterwards?
Well, I think a lot of it will come down to how long this goes on for, because the longer it goes on, especially in New Zealand, I think, because hopefully they've shut it down in time, that they'll be able to, keep the disease in check. And but to do that, they're probably going to have to be shut down for a long time. So the government's going to have to keep giving people money and helping people out in that way. And I think people are going to be like, oh, well, what the fuck? This, especially if your job's just this pointless, busy work office thing, or like,
yeah,
you're getting paid fucking minimum wage to do some work, which is suddenly super important. I think those things are like really glaringly obvious now.
Yeah.
So, and I think the other thing is that it could go the other way though, because if you look what's happening in the States, like if they do force everyone back to work and 1 million people die or something like that, and they continue as a society, I mean, that's pretty unprecedented, that? I mean, that's just really full fascism, if you move into that. And you look at, I think it was Hungary today announced all these emergency measures which basically give the government there just like it's like a dictatorship,
Yeah, well, that's and I've seen like plenty of examples of it over the last week or so, is that one industry that's not pausing is oppression of the poor by police. And those things carry on as normal despite what is happening. But yeah, and fuck.
When I'm talking about the police, it's weird here because people are knocking on people for being for breaking the social distancing thing, and obviously people are probably being fuckwits about it, but at the same time it's kind of like, well, what do you do? Because do you know what I mean? Like, because we are in a situation now where I reckon that they probably did it a bit late. Like, if they would have done it a couple of weeks earlier, it might have been really manageable.
Yeah.
But if everyone keeps still going out, and like my friend was down in Taranaki and she was saying that like there were just people just walking around, just hanging out, like it was nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get back in your hometown.
Doesn't surprise me about my hometown.
You know what's weird though is that it's like the fucking the generation that's most at risk seems to be the one that takes it the least serious.
Yeah. Well, fuck.
Like
do they care about anything?
It's like with my mum, I was just like, fucking stay home. Like before the lockdown, she's been, since the lockdown's going out, she's all good. But I was just like, just take a few days off work, because I was saying to her, either they're going to lock it down or the disease is going to explode. And either way, you don't want to, because she works at a daycare centre, it's like, you don't want to be around a bunch of fucking children.
What do you reckon that is? Is it like, how you regress in a lot of ways that can be like equated to being similar to your childhood or growing up? The curve of your life kind of goes up and then down. Is it, do like old people get the invincibility thing that young people have, but through experience of being like, well, I've seen this, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, just this another thing.
Yeah, I reckon. Hold on a second, I'm just going to open this beer.
Please. Yeah, I just before I jumped down to record, I got Louis and Babs told me, people I live with, for people at home, so New Zealand's just put in a travel ban of a year where you can't leave the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so for me,
awesome.
Yeah, which is good, right? But for me, I'm like, fuck. If something happens back home, I can't go there. Like, I can't get stuck in New Zealand, which is, yeah. And like, yeah, it's horrible. And as this was coming up, so I was planning my first trip home since I've moved over here. My brother's got a baby. Mum and dad are old. And yeah, it's pretty scary now thinking about that. But I guess it's for the best. And apparently funerals have a number limit of 5 now as well.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So don't be dying anytime soon, Dan.
I'm not gonna.
Would I be in your top 5?
Of course.
Just me, eh?
Us
Top
3.
5.
Jared.
Top 5 dead or alive.
Yeah, I can't say which one, but I got booked for one of the top writing festivals in the world
Oh.
in August. And then it's like, I guess I won't be doing that now. It's just like fucking career-changing opportunity.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, that's another good point to talk about. Because, you know, there's a lot of, what would you call it? A lot of people competing for who is the hardest affected or... and, you know, this is going to be hard on everyone. There's no denying. But it's going to be harder on certain people. But I think something we wanted to focus on today was when is the idea or the people whose life experience have kind of prepared them for this moment, i.e. poor people. So in Australia, the first thing was the toilet paper. And people were stressed and they were angry. And I was just like, fuck, I don't care. Like, I'll have a shower. I'll wipe my ass with newspaper like I've done.
Well, it's like we were saying the other day. It's like, I don't reckon I lived in a flat with toilet paper till I was about 25.
Yeah. And so that and the idea of like perhaps food being scarce or not having income is just like, oh, welcome to the life of a poor person. And yeah, I guess it's just not that anxiety inducing if you've experienced that and know you can survive it.
That's what I was saying to my mate who was having a bit of a freak out. And it's not like he's rich or anything, but he's always had quite a busy life. You know, he's always had things going on, and I don't think he's used to being so still. And I was just saying to him, man, it's like I've had times where it's like, not only do you not really have a job or anything to do, but you don't have any money, so you can't even fucking entertain yourself. And this is like quite often pre-internet, so you're just sort of like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? You're just like, oh, I guess I'll read this book, and you know. But I mean, that's the only reason why I got good at writing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way if I would have fucking come from money that I would have, because you just would have had so much other shit to do.
Yeah. Well, that's something I always think about, because, you know, I'm a little bit torn on this issue. I might have talked about it years ago when we did the podcast, but that idea of artists being supported and funded and stuff, and, you know, I guess that does need to be there, but it's also real healthy for you to fucking really be committed to art, regardless of what it's going to do for you in terms of being able to live off it, or, you know.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with this exact conversation with someone last night, and she was kind of bummed because she's just like, oh, it just feels like, you know, like that thing that you get as an artist fucking every other day where you're just like, I'm wasting my life, what am I doing, blah, blah, blah. So she's kind of having that moment, and she's just saying, you know, I just feel like I've worked so hard at this, and I see these people who are essentially hobbyists getting all this attention because of the nature of what the internet's like.
Yeah.
And I was just saying to her, it's like, man, this shit doesn't matter. Like, those people aren't going to be doing it in 2 years, like, because it's so hard to maintain it that the only reason why you would do it is because you have to and because you love it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if you do make a little bit of money, like, it's... Like I was saying at the start of the podcast, you know, it's like I felt rich last year and then it turned out I made fuck all. But you know what I mean? Like, that's just the nature of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got a pretty, like, in my head, it's a vivid illustration of this experience now and my life now compared to back in the day. And I guess, like, in terms of being isolated, being, like, imprisoned a bunch of times, you'd think is the greatest example of that. But the thing that really sticks out for me is, I think I was about 16, 17, I had this flat with all these friends, and we got evicted, and just everyone bailed. I lived there with my best friend. He got sent by the court back to his hometown, Whakatane, and everyone just left this flat, and this flat had been sick. Like, we had such a good time in there. There was always, it was very social, and then all of a sudden it was empty, and I was left there, and I had nowhere to go. And much like your scurvy story, like, I had no money, I had no food, so I was making like pancakes out of water and flour, and I don't know if I had tomato sauce or what I was putting on them. But, and I can't remember the exact amount of time I was in this house, and like, I think I was really depressed, but I didn't even know what depression was at that point in my life. But I was just in this house for, I think it was a week or two. And the one highlight was all my clothes were in rubbish bags for some reason. But I remember going through a rubbish bag of clothing. I don't know what I was looking for. And a bud came out on this pair of pants. And I found a bud, and I was just like, oh, fuck, I can get high today. And I was so happy. And that was an example of like, and like the house didn't have TVs. There's no entertainment. There's fucking nothing in it. And yeah, I just sat there for like a few weeks, just eating flour.
You're quite good at just having a sit though, like having a sit around.
Yeah, I can sit down.
Yeah.
People say
you don't mind sitting around.
Yeah, people say I'm proficient at it, but like, and now I've got, I don't know, this house has like 3 couches for sitting on.
Yep.
And like 3 TVs.
You got 3 TVs.
2 of them I found on the side of the road. But
yeah, I mean, we're the same. Like I was saying to Dave, my flatmate, the other day, that it's like we're so lucky that this shit's happening whilst we're in this house, because our house, we're living out in the forest in Langholm. The house is massive. We've got like firewood and, you know, everything that we need. And like I say, we're both, you know, I mean, well, he's actually got a proper job, but I'm doing reasonably well for me. You know, so we're super lucky in that way. Because, like, imagine if you're living in some fucking shithole. And I was thinking, especially like back in the day, where if you're living with a bunch of fucking reprobates, then it's like no one's going to stay home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just be constantly stressed out and ugh.
Do you also remember just cramming flats full of people as well? So you'd always be living with some prick you didn't even fucking like?
Yeah.
Like, God, I'm thankful that's dead.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan?
Yep. I agree.
just a big yep from Dan. So, you went and isolated yourself out in fucking Iceland for a while.
I've done a bunch of isolating. I'm actually just writing an essay about that at the moment.
You've done Vipassana as well.
I've done Vipassana, and I've done a bunch of writing residencies where I've gone away for months.
What's Vipassana?
It's like a meditation retreat where you don't talk.
Right.
You don't make eye contact, you don't read, you just meditate.
Do you not listen to that episode, Dan?
Of?
How Not to Be an Asshole, where Dom talks about...
This is a podcast.
Oh, maybe.
Just check it out.
It does ring a bell. I remember you talking about that. I didn't know that's what it was called there.
But the thing I found with the writing residencies, and obviously it's different, you know, because you're doing something that you want to be doing, and you're, you know, going to sort of different places. But what I found, though, that is you're just going to go crazy. And that's what I'm saying in this essay, is there's no point trying to fight it and trying to, like, you know, people have been like, make sure that you get up at your normal time and put on your work clothes. And all that. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this is a pandemic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that added anxiety that everyone's going to have. But I think that what I found is that shit just gets real strange real quick. And just to kind of roll with that. And the other thing, I think the positive side of it is that, because, you know, when I was in Iceland, it was like light the whole time. And when I went down to Port Chalmers, it was, you know, I did my writing down there, and you sort of get a bit strange. But then, you know, you get back to yourself after a couple of days.
You say that like you didn't go in there strange.
Oh, you're a fucking stranger, man. When I was in Iceland, I remember, because we flew back to London, and I've sort of forgotten how to talk properly, you know, and like...
Yeah.
I remember turning the light on was really weird, because we'd best be in daylight 24/7.
Yeah. I think to your point of, you know, maintaining routine and that sort of shit, I think it's a real important one, because when I kind of first, like, it dawned on me that, oh shit, everything's going to be different, and it could be different for quite a while, and I'm going to be in this house. I was like, oh, okay, this is a great, exciting opportunity. You know, I kind of saw it that way immediately. And then a few days passed, and I was like, well, I haven't fucking achieved anything in this time. And I got, like, a bit down on myself, you know, because I was like, this is a great opportunity to have all this free time. But yeah, like, I began to measure that and just kind of, you know, tell myself that, oh, holy shit, this is a really big deal. And you might feel quite weird. And so I've just gone easier on myself and not been so demanding on myself. There's a lot of shit I got to do. But since I kind of, you know, decided to be nice to myself about it, I have been more productive. I think you'll really go down that spiral if you don't give yourself some allowance, depending on what sort of person you are, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've actually found I've been probably more connected with a lot of people since. I mean, I've talked to you way more since this has happened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's like, various people I've been talking to lots. And this has also been cool because I've been posting these poems on my Instagram every day. And the amount of people that have just got in touch about that and having little chats with them. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's been quite cool in that sense, you know? And I think that there's this thing that, you know, I don't know if we were talking about this the other night, but that, you know, crisis brings out the best in people, but we've been taught through fucking movies and political propaganda that it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
But you just see it time and time again historically, like all sort of like any movement that started, especially ones that have been sort of positive, whether it's the introduction of the welfare state or state housing or, you know, introduction of socialist measures, that's always happened after a crisis.
Yeah.
It never just happens just during a normal time.
Yeah, well, funnily enough and kind of relevant as well, the NHS was set up in the UK after World War I or II, right?
It's two, I think, yeah.
Yeah, like that was a result of the war.
Hard out.
Huh?
I said hard out.
Hard out. I had another point.
Did you like it that the Prime Minister said hard out? I thought that was a very New Zealand moment.
Did she say that?
Yeah, she was like,
No.
"What, do you remember that, Dan?
No,
What'd you say? It was like, it's in the meeting when they're talking, in the briefing when they're talking about the lockdown. And she said that it was like something was hard out.
Oh, I didn't see that. I've been watching a lot of it too.
Do you reckon your mum was watching it and exclaimed to someone near her that,
Definitely. That's
she's
my
been
son's friend.
she's hard out. She's hard out being at my son's house.
You know what's funny is when she was on the podcast and she was talking about how you shouldn't make fun of politicians' families. And then I ended up making fun of her boyfriend.
Did you?
You did not see that?
Oh, it rings a bell. My memory's so bad, man.
Because she did that thing where like she was like, oh, we can't raise the benefits. She said we can't get rid of drug testing for beneficiaries.
Oh.
And then I just did that poem where I said I've seen the Prime Minister's boyfriend high as fuck.
Oh, yeah, no, I did see that.
And it's a tidal wave. It was so good though. I got to block so many motherfuckers. It was like this tidal wave of Labour voters. Just like these people that like, it's not like you're even mates with them, but you kind of feel a bit sorry for them. And then suddenly they come on and be like, it's just like.
Yeah, it's quite weird, eh? There's a real desire to not hold Jacinda accountable because of, you know, it's like, fuck, man, she's so much more preferable than the last Prime Minister, but you still have to be held to account, right? And,
hard.
And from what I can gather, there's been like a lot of letdowns and disappointments. I know they're running a coalition government, but
that's what everyone was saying when they're jumping in my fucking DMs was like, oh, you know, it's Winston Peters, and it's just like, well, I'm sure that's true to an extent, but
he's not the Prime Minister though.
Yeah, and and I think it's like, you know, like people do need to be held accountable just because they've done some good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's also I think the lack of policies for beneficiaries, for people in like insecure housing.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's really kind of got me. And that and the Iha Martel thing, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, the things that are really
still
disappointing.
Still issuing drilling permits and...
Yeah.
That's
But I guess at the end of the day, though, you know what? It's like it's a capitalist society, so you shouldn't be surprised that the government does some capitalist shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is that what I really noticed when those people were going on me is that they just didn't understand what kind of fucking society that we live in. Like they think that you know, like this is all good, and it's like, yeah, it's all good for you because you're fucking middle class, and you know what I mean. You're in a good position in your life right now, but it's like
Yeah.
for a lot of people, that's not true. You know?
Yeah, I think just, you know, I was aware of all this stuff prior, but just seeing it on a grand scale as I've got so invested in US politics this year, just how fucking insane it is. So you got, you know, so you got Bernard Sanders, who wants every person in the country to have health care. And then, like I heard of a case the other day, like a 19-year-old went to get treatment, couldn't because he didn't have health insurance, died from COVID-19. And it's just
fucking crazy, eh?
And it's so glaring, and the establishment, he's such a threat to the establishment because he wants to look after people. And the establishment coalesces and just kind of stamps down his movement, and it's so powerful and so entrenched that it feels
it's pretty
nearly
heartbreaking, eh, when he fucking didn't get it. I mean, I suppose he still could. There's still a slight chance.
Yeah, well, so both countries, New Zealand and the States, have elections this year, right?
I don't think we're going to have elections, though.
Yeah. So
I mean, they'd have to put them online, which actually would be better. It would mean that more people would vote.
Yeah. So
Have you got a myriad of beers?
Yeah, I got a few different beers.
Do you?
I got the Sam McGrail and I got a Cooper's. Yeah, but I think
You're not meant to drink Coopers, are you? Aren't they the ones that did the homophobic thing?
Oh, did they?
Dan, do you know about that?
Nope.
Oh, well.
Is San Miguel that Filipino beer?
Yep.
Right.
It is.
Sorry, Todd, go on.
Yeah, but I would imagine, or, you know, it's going to depend how things play out, but I think there'll be, because if they do online elections in the States, that's going to, for the primaries, that'll favour Bernie.
They would never do it in the States.
So they won't do it. They'll try and press on with election and just kill
But in
people.
New Zealand, I think that they might, either that or just cancel the election.
Yeah, which is unprecedented.
I don't know. Has that happened historically? Dan, can you ever look on the Google?
What?
Look at him work. Your glasses just lit up.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you command him to work.
Yeah.
Like.
But I don't know. It's really hard to know what's going to come of this. But I tell you what, I'm so fucking glad that Jacinda and Labour are in power, not those other fucking maniacs, because there's just no way that the borders will be closed or anything. Because you hear Simon Bridges was coming out and talking about that herd immunity thing that the UK, and it was at the stage that the UK had already said, oh, no, we're not actually going to do that. Fucking drongo.
Bridges is, he's a fucking maniac, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he...
Just a real dumb bastard.
Yeah, is he just kind of following, like, political trends that are, like, popping off overseas?
Yeah.
And aping them, and they're just
He's trying to be a populist, but he's not popular.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true that. Oh, fucking hilarious. I saw a photo of him and, is it Judith? No, Paula Bennett on Facebook the other day, and it actually just looks like a photo of like a screenshot from a satirical like politics show. Like they just look so fucking stupid.
Oh, just despicable humans.
Yeah, I back to
what did you find out, Dan?
Nah, nothing in New Zealand, but there's been heaps of elections cancelled in the past, but no New Zealand ones. There's a list on Wiki.
So I presume that just whoever is holding office stays in, right? Until.
But I mean, they could just push it out for a year or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean,
I guess it is fucking good that Bridges isn't the Prime Minister then.
but I mean, It'd be pretty. Yeah, I think if they made online voting a thing,
Yeah.
because there's just so many people. I mean, in every country, but in this country too, that are just not voting and they're totally dispossessed. You know what I mean? And I think you could potentially reach those people
Yeah.
if there was online voting. It'd be quite interesting to get someone on. Oh, I know who we should try and get on. Ricardo, the Greens MP.
Yeah.
He's like social. Do you know the dude? The socialist dude.
No,
he used to work for Triple AP. Well, he still might.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if we could get someone who could
Knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, that. But I was gonna see if you wanted to get into it today, and maybe you do, but maybe we just get an expert on, someone who wanted to, who was an expert on labor as a concept, and to really,
from like a Marxist perspective, do you mean?
yeah, and like in accordance with what's happening at the moment and what people are realizing, because I think for me that's the most interesting thing. Coming out of all of this. I
know quite a few people, but it's just finding someone that would be engaging.
Yeah.
Because I quite often, because I know quite a bit about that shit, but like a lot of my mates who are really into it, when they start talking, I can just feel my brain starting to shut down because it's, it's not their fault, but
no, of course.
But I'll have a think.
It's not the sexiest topic. No, I guess it depends who's talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally you meet someone that can kind of like, that use examples in a way where they can break it down.
Do you remember that when that guy met Lubin at Shadows and he was breaking it down for him in his face?
That's right, and then you tried to punch him, didn't you?
No, I don't think I tried to punch him.
I'm sure you tried to fight someone because of Lubin and Shadows.
Nah, we just had to like calm him down. But speaking of punching...
Had to calm him down, is that what you...
Yeah. Lubin that was, not the other guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, there was another time Lubin outside my apartment and he tried to start a fight with some skateboarders or something.
Lubin's going to hate this.
Hi, Lubin. Oh, yeah, speaking of punching people, though, so I've evolved a lot. I realised the other week when I went to this comedy show and this comedian just, kind of went in on me and he was shit. And I just
from the stage?
Yeah, with the mic in his hand.
Oh.
And he was real bad. He said some other real terrible things to other audience members as well. I think that was his shtick. And I was like, okay, that's fine, but it would be fine if you were funny.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're just a drunk guy with a microphone saying shit.
Maybe we should try and get him on the show.
Oh, I'm sure we could. I imagine he doesn't have much else to do.
He's got some free time.
This would be, even though we're just starting back up and we might only get 20 listens, that could appear pretty prestigious to him.
Sorry, I interrupted you again. Did you have to get on stage and calm him down?
No, I didn't calm him down at all. I just sat there and kind of... I think the next comedian... opened and said something to me in a cordial manner, and he was like, "Is it all right to talk to you?" I was like, "Yeah, if you're funny."
Is it all right? What was he saying?
Well, so I encountered him in the bathroom just before he went on, and he came up to me and was like, "Oh fuck, count, did your fucking face, did your head hurt, fucking tattooed?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was really painful." And he's like, "Oh, fuck, yeah." And then he started trying to talk to me about some other shit because we're in the bathroom together. And went back to the cellar. It was a real cool room they had it in, actually. Go back down to the, cellar of this pub. And he's the next guy getting up. I was like, this guy can't do comedy. He's fucking pissed. And he gets up and he's like, I was right to the left of stage. He grabs the mic and he just turns to me and he's like, "Met this fella up the stairs, asked him do the tats on your head hurt?" And he was like, "Nah." So first of all, he mischaracterized me as a tough guy, pretending my tattoos didn't hurt. And I was like, and then I asked him, "Oh, does your hair grow over that?" And he was like, yeah. It's like, oh, why'd you fucking get them then, you dickhead? And just,
That is quite good.
and I think
Look, Dan's laughing.
fuck you, cunts. And then the room was just deathly silent and tense.
Oh, they don't know what good comedy is.
So, this is where he disarmed me. The room just went deathly silent, right? And there was kind of like tension in the air. You could feel it because I was deaf staring this prick as well. And then he just turns back to the like front of stage and says, yeah, so I decided to quit smoking meth. And then and that's when I was like, oh shit, this might be good. But the rest was garbage. It's absolute trash. He's commenting on women's bodies and stuff in the crowd, and
A real piece of shit, you might say.
yeah, he was terrible. I've really segued out of where we were a moment ago.
It's all right. We don't even know what we're talking about. But you know what? Who would actually be good to get on to talk about Labour is bloody Lubin.
Yeah.
Because he's very good at condensing things down to, what's the word? Layman's terms.
Yeah. And it'd be an opportunity for him to like make amends for what he did to that guy at Shadows.
I don't remember it like that. I remember that the guy was being a real prick, and then Lubin was going off, and that you, I'm sure that you like pushed him or you did something, and there were other people there too.
Yeah, I can't. I've said I think
we were quite drunk, and it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I've said twice in this podcast that my memory's garbage. Just another quick segue though. How do you guys feel about bidets? You pro or?
I've never used one.
Never used one, both of you?
No.
Fuck, that's not very French.
Who the fuck has a fucking bidet in New Zealand?
When we first moved back from Australia when I was young, I think I was about 10, and we got this flat, and it wasn't like a fancy house or anything, just a normal, cheap rental. But the bathroom was massive. You know how like occasionally you'll just get houses and it'll have a weird bonus room? It'll be like, why is this room real sick and the other ones are just standard or shitty? Yeah, so I had this amazing bathroom. It was carpeted as well. Big fluffy carpet, and it had a bidet.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. So I think once this is all over, I'm going to install a bidet somewhere.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Future proof.
You just use a hose.
Yeah. Outdoors.
Fuck, I'm getting quite pissed. How much strength is this beer? The Hallertau number 2. Do you guys want to see? I got this pig here is actually a whistle. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, please. I'm sure the listeners are going to fucking love this.
They're going to enjoy it.
Are you holding a microphone? I didn't even notice. Fuck, you're actually pretty talented with that pig whistle.
Thank you. So you blow, for the listeners, it's a little terracotta pig, and you blow into its bum, and there's little holes in it. And then that's how you play the whistle.
That's cool. Hey, so I think a lot of people who'll be like supremely relieved we're back, and they'll be like, oh man, this was a constant in my life. And these guys ease my anxieties and kind of, put things right for me when the world seemed to be fucking just a ball of carnage. So for those listeners, I want a very certain appraisal, Dominic, of what the future looks like post COVID-19.
Yeah. Whenever there's a crisis, I want to listen to 3 morons. What do you think it's going to look like? I don't know. Well, like I said, it depends how long it goes on for.
Are you hopeful? Is a more
I'm more hopeful than I've been in a long time.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Especially in this country. Because, I mean, I think the way that the government has reacted has been pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And it's saved thousands of lives, if not tens of thousands. But yeah, it just depends. And I think that like people's fear of change, you know what I mean? So I think for people to get over that, it has to be a big enough jolt.
Yeah.
But so, if this goes on for 3 months, then I think potentially, or longer, then I think, at the end of it, potentially we're going to come out into a very different world.
Yeah, it seems very much a matter of how sustained this is, right?
But I think in somewhere like America or Italy or, I can't imagine those countries are going to be the same afterwards, but not necessarily in a good way. But,
Yeah.
like Italy, it just sounds insane.
Yeah, and it could potentially, particularly for the States, be a matter of real bad timing, given how divided the country is, because Trump supporters and base just listen to whatever he says, right? And
What I heard is that there's actually been a split in his support because half of the people are those fucking QAnon conspiracy theory maniacs, and they believe it's fake. And then the other half are like, you know what I mean, like listening to what he says. And so it sort of created this kind of rift between them.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be very real for people too if everyone knows someone who's died or been affected in a serious way, right?
Well, that's what people were saying in Italy. They're saying first everyone lost their jobs and then everyone lost their parents, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, holy fuck.
Yeah.
It's very dark.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was like calling for them to. It was funny. I was like saying like, you're saying, oh, they need to close the borders, and it's like that's not something I ever thought that I would hear myself say.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But because when they were like in New Zealand, when they were sort of talking about maybe doing it, and that's right. No, they weren't talking about. They kept on saying they weren't going to do it. They weren't going to close the borders.
Yeah.
And I was just getting a bit like, oh yeah, because if you look at what's happening in Italy, you might want to, do something.
Excuse me, they've really sealed things up now, and I won't see you guys ever again.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Dan keeps setting things on fire.
I'll light a fire for you.
Thank you.
Fucking expel him.
Does this? I know it's early days, but does this feel like the biggest kind of event of our lives? Like, it feels.
Well, we're definitely living through history.
Yeah. I mean, like, 9/11 was really big, right? But it wasn't an immediate thing for us.
Yeah, it was distant.
Yeah.
Yeah, biggest thing since Cyclone Bowler. Do you remember Cyclone Bowler?
Yeah.
That's the only other time I can really remember where the whole country kind of freaked out.
Yeah. Was that a big freak out? Because I remember it, but I don't remember anxiety.
Well, I mean, I was like 8 or something, but I remember the tree at our school fell over, and then we all got sent home, and we were at home for 2 days, and
oh shit!
And it was the only thing on the news.
Yeah. New Plymouth flooded once, and we could swim in people's front lawns. But
How was that?
It was fucking fun. Sick.
Yeah.
Sent home from school, and we were just swimming in front lawns. It was fucking sick.
All right, should we wrap this up then?
How long we been going for, Dan?
55 minutes.
Oh, look at that fucking timing just in my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
True professional.
Bro, you've still
Nothing
got it.
changed.
I do, I've still got it.
Fuck, you still got it, Dom.
I had a dream that I was freestyling the other day and I was doing really well, and then I woke up and I was just like, nah, it's not true.
Fuck. I had a dream last night. I don't think she'll hear this, but fuck, it was so vivid. But I was with I was in some sort of youth work situation, and Jessica Hansel, Coco Solid, was speaking to these young people. I can't remember what she was talking about, but she like had tears streaming down her face, but was like super just at the same time as like being real emotional, stoic and like focused, and just was saying what she was saying. It was the most incredible thing. So not as good as your dream, but
Maybe we should try and get her on the podcast.
yeah, it should be incredible. We did try and get her back in the day. Eh? She was elusive.
Yeah. But, you know, now everyone's stuck at home, so.
All right, so yeah, let's wrap this up. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
We're back.
We are fucking back. Feels
We're back,
good,
Dan.
man.
Come on, Dan, say it.
We're back.
Yeah, boy.
Dan's so enthused by all this. I think I was just saw
The worst is behind us.
I
Now that we're back.
I saw a little glint in his eye that belied his lack of enthusiasm. So once again, if you want to contact us, or if you want to, well, I guess if you're listening to this, you've got the link, don't you? But it's patreon.com, HNTBAA. Please message us. If we get enough kind of feedback or questions or whatever, we'll definitely make time to address those things at the end of the next episode.
Yeah, let us know about potential guests we could get too, because we could get international guests.
Yeah, if you got people you'd like us to get on, especially if you know them and you can be the, especially if you can facilitate that for us so we don't have to, that'd be fucking excellent. But and we're gonna go weekly, it seems, yeah?
Yeah, we'll try.
We'll try. Fuck yeah, it's gonna be difficult, isn't it? With all this
At least
free
for the
time
next
shit.
4 weeks.
But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in again. Does feel nice to be back and feels like a good time to be doing it. So they did warn you that when this all went down that there was going to be a lot of inundation of middle-aged white guy podcasts, and so here's ours.
Toodaloo.